Welcome back, dear viewers. As we said earlier that we are going to talk about the recent economic decisions taken by the government and its impact on ordinary Egyptian citizens, and how can people be more positive and support their country at this stage. And to shed more light on this issue, I joined here in the studio with Dr. Zeinab Shaheen. She's professor of sociology and consultant and gender and development consultant. Good morning, Dr. Zeinab.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Zeinab. And the government has recently took steps regarding the economic in order to develop the economic crisis by liberalizing the Egyptian pound. And as a result, most of the prices have been risen. And of course, on a daily basis, we are seeing a hike in the prices. So what's your opinion about these steps taken by the government?
I like your introduction
Yes.
vis-a-vis economic impact on people.
Yes.
This is a very interesting approach, introduction.
Yes.
Because what really matters, people, in the final analysis, what is the impact of increasing of cost and prices on people? Why were they taken by anger and frustration? This is crucial to probe and get into. I think the most important thing vis-a-vis increase of prices is to expose people, masses, to the subject. They have to be informed, well informed of its historical account, well informed of the situational analysis of the present situation, and what is the impact of this all on the development of Egypt. So unless people are well acquainted and aware of these dynamics, they're going to be taken by frustration and anger. And I see very little effort geared toward this objective. They just increase of prices without trying to get into reasons for that, trying to get into historical account, trying to get into situational analysis and its future impact. So this is number one recommendation for this situation. Something else I'd like to deal with is the stakeholders for the development of Egypt. The people, civil society, NGOs, political, and the government. So if these three don't work together and coalesce and join forces, this is not going to be very fruitful. Why should they join forces? Because they should have an impact, a strong impact on, again, going to the issue of informing people, empowering them through knowledge of what we are going through. They have to be sharing the decision. People should share the decision. People should be acquainted. So the role of civil society is very important vis-a-vis acquainting the masses,
and to raise, of course, people's awareness about the recent decisions and why they were taken.
And the government has to provide accurate information, has to provide accurate accounts of what's happening. Unless these three work together in terms of coalition, joining forces, it's not going to be very helpful to eliminate any frustration that people face. So maybe also we can touch the role of media. It's very, very important role. I noticed that they present negatives all the time, whether television or paper. They always present the negative side, as if opposition is seeking any kind of opportunity to exaggerate on the issue, to exaggerate on the negative sides, whether in terms of in different sectors, whether in terms of transportation, whether in terms of
But what really matters, Dr. Zeinab,
I'd like to finish this in 1 minute.
Okay.
So it's really frustrating for people, adding to their psychological frustration, adding to that. So they lose trust if everything is falling apart and all the negatives are there without any light or without any element of positivism. So this is really adding to their frustration. So where are the religious leaders where they should acquaint us with how negative it is if dealers, if merchants, if business people take advantage and exploit the situation.
Yes.
This kind of exploitation is much against religion. So this can also be highlighted in the media. other sectors should also try to present the positives and explain why are we going through that. So this would eliminate the frustration, would make it less and create more trust and more faith in what's happening with the government.
So what's your message really to those people who are exploiting this situation and are increasing prices?
Well, I think they should know better that they are really part and partners of making problems and creating problems in this society.
Yes.
Because if they keep at it and all their concern is to making profit and making money, this is going to really
I think this is the main problem, that people are exploiting the situation. And they are creating crisis.
The situation,
they are creating crisis like suddenly you find that some goods are not existing, disappeared from the market.
The situation. They take advantage of every single aspect in this situation and try as much as they can to gain profit out of it, irrespective of how this is going to impact negatively on people. So people have the right to be frustrated. People have to be taken by anger. They have the right to be angry because of all what's happening. Everything is working against them. Increase of prices. We are all ready to participate in this, to change our consumption pattern, to try to change our view altogether.
To buy Egyptian
priorities,
products.
Needs, identification of our needs, priorities, and all of this can be reformulated depending on the messages people get. So you cannot expect to put all of the negatives and instill it in people and then expect them to be happy. So there must be some kind of insight, some kind of knowledge. Knowledge, as I said before, empowers people and make them understand, and understanding make people more relieved and acceptance of whatever kind of measures they should take in order to cope with this crisis. As for instance, Bacon puts it, knowledge is power. Empower people by knowledge. This so that we can ally together, stand together, coalesce together, join forces together and do something about it. After knowledge, they have, the government, as I said, should provide accurate information. NGOs and parties should reach out people and make them have access to this kind of knowledge and information.
Okay, there's a new trend in our society nowadays is blaming the people. The prices are high, we have to blame the traders, we have to blame the businessmen and blame the people even themselves. But what is the role?
Blame the people in what respect? What do you mean?
They are the cause of this rise in prices, they are the cause because some goods are disappearing. Where is the role of the government, the supervision, controlling the market? Why the government is lifting the hand away from the market?
Well, I said the government is one of the stakeholders of the development of Egypt, and especially in this economic crisis that we're going through. They have to be part and parcel of this dynamic of how we should change and how we should accommodate this crisis togetherness. So the government's role is decisive in providing, as I said before, the right information, in trying to channel, to gear channels towards informing, trying to be very firm with traders or business people who are taking advantage and exploiting the situation. They have to be very firm. They have to set firm rules in order to set back any kind of attempts for exploitation. I think also political parties and NGOs can play a decisive role in this respect.
In your opinion, how can political parties and NGOs play a role in this respect?
With the government setting rules,
yes,
firm, in really
helping the people to know more about the real situation and why there are increasing
setting rules and punishment for any violation.
Yes.
That should be firm action taken against any exploitive acts and so on. And NGOs, they reach the masses, they try to explain, and they can never try to explain without their own,
they can encourage
gaining
people
themselves
to,
knowledge. They have to be knowledge themselves, they have to be acquainted with the issue in order to be able to convey the right messages. But I don't want all the time portraying negatives. In the health sector, hospitals are empty of I don't know what, shots and so on, or portraying negatives in the transportation, portraying negatives here and there, which makes people lose faith and lose trust in what's going on. So we have to have an element of positive
We have to
action.
focus on the positive.
We should focus on achievements. We have a lot of achievements.
Yes.
We disregard that, and opposition are so happy to keep on scrutinizing in order to find something negative that has ill effect on people and exaggerate on the theme. So this the government can control also.
In this stage, what the people should do? What kind of advice you give?
Boycotting any.
But they need these goods.
They have to rationalize. They have to change their consumption pattern. Number 1 and number 10 and number 100. Change consumption pattern. We find developed countries, advanced societies, they go and buy piece, buy one. But in Egypt, in the Arab world, they tend to feel that this is shameful. You know, if you just buy 2 apples or 2 pears or whatever, you have to buy a lot. Less the man says that something is negative about it.
But there are essential goods people cannot boycott. For example, medicine, sugar, the basic needs, the daily basic
this,
needs.
of course, you're not going to boycott. Of course, you're going to, you need it, you have to buy it anyway, whether you like it or not. But I'm talking about things that are within your reach, within your decision, something like meat and terrible high price of meat. Something must be done on the civil level, we cannot put all effort adopted by the government. It has to be shared. NGOs here again can mobilize people in order to get engaged in whatever boycott against food items, which is very crucial. Food items is very crucial for people. So this, they can work on that. And through changing our consumption patterns. We don't have to eat meat every day. We don't have to eat meat 4 days a week. We can eat meat twice a week. Change the pattern. Other food items we can deal with it similarly.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell us the stories from history in how Egyptians collaborated at critical times?
In wars,
yes.
I remember a few years ago, maybe you can remember it better, when they boycotted meat.
Yes.
I think that that was some effort adopted by one of the NGOs in Maadi.
To
this
boycott,
is as far as I remember. There were a lot of cases where
Egyptians collaborated.
Excuse me.
Yes. And there are calls to boycott some products on the 1st of December just to help in decreasing prices.
Here we are.
Here we are. I hope people
So there are so many areas we can just and you know what? It's a rolling ball, you know, snowball. Once it starts, it's going to be diffused.
Yes.
And the model would be emulated, and the model would be disseminated here and there, and this can really threaten exploiters, traders, business people who take a lot of advantage, and I know this for a fact. They take a lot of advantage of what's happening. It is their green period in order to take a look at what's happening to sugar. Look what's happening to I think what's other food items besides sugar.
Everything.
The rice, for example.
A lot of
basic commodities.
Monopolizing the product.
Oil, yes.
Monopolizing the product is against law here. Going back to your point, this is where the government should stand and stand firmly and punish any violation in this respect.
Dr. Zeinab, I told you in my previous question how people could control the rise of prices, you said, by boycotting some of the goods. But when you touch the essential needs of the poor people or the people who cannot buy, for example, as you said, the rice, the sugar, the oil, these are the beans, these are the daily basic needs for the poor people. So how something like this could be controlled?
Well, this needs an economist to be very accurate in this respect. But from an observer point of view, I think again some kind of effort need to be exerted towards this category of social class category, I think they should not pay the price, because these are through subsidy. If subsidy really reaches the right people, if subsidy reaches the right social group, this can help them in this respect. I also wanted to mention that there is now some kind of lobbying, some kind of mobilization in order to counteract, the sweets that they fix for the
مولد النبي.
Yes. Yeah. So this has to be encouraged, and similar acts need to be encouraged in order to redress the balance. And I like your point very much. We have to take care of this social class category, because they should not pay the price. We should ameliorate their condition rather than exert more pressure, economic pressure on them.
So here, can you focus on the role of women in this stage?
Well, I would like to seize this opportunity and take advantage of that question and say, whatever measure taken, whatever problem undertaken, this is a case in point, should not be the responsibility of women alone. If we are to change our consumption pattern, it's the family's role. The whole has to agree and has to work on that. It's the father and the mother, it's the family members. Because I notice now that there is a concentration on women. Boycott, it is a women's role. No, it is the family's role. It's women and men's role. Gender means men and women. It's not only women's role. We have to pay attention to this.
Professor of Sociology, Gender and Development Consultant, Dr. Zeinab Shaheen, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome once again to Breakfast Show.
Thank you for inviting me, and do something about you. We ourselves have to resist and work against using any item that has been exploited.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zeinab Shaheen. And now, dear viewers, we'll go for a short break, and we'll be back with the Breakfast Show, so stay tuned.